Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to my NXT recap for NXT March 23rd. This week on NXT, we had quite a few great matches, and I'm just going to go over a few of my thoughts and reactions to some of them. So here we go. The first match of the night was between the Drifter, Elias Samson, versus Johnny Gargano, and my very first thought was, why hasn't Elias used his guitar as a weapon yet? I feel like it's just a matter of time before he uses that as a weapon. And, we were thinking maybe, once he loses, then he will use it as a weapon because he has been, running on a winning streak. No, because the Drifter lost to Johnny Gargano, and it was a pretty short match. But it was what happens after the match that's noteworthy. No, he doesn't use the guitar. The Drifter, Elias Samson, completely loses it and just keeps attacking Johnny Gargano and just keeps fighting after the match is way over. And eventually they have Apollo Crews come out and break the two up and protect Johnny Gargano because he was just taking such a beating because Elias just flipped because he lost. So we know what kind of temper the Drifter has now. They're kind of fleshing that out instead of him just being strong and silent. So we get a little bit more fleshed out Drifter this week, and I'm curious to see if that will lead to him using the guitar as a weapon or if it's just there for show. And if it's just there for show, it's kind of boring. So next we have Swann versus Finn Balor. This was my favorite match of the night. Swann came out as just a guy who loved dancing, basically. That was like his character. He was going to dance all night. Going up against much more serious Finn Balor. It was a lot of fun to see how Swann was using practically dance moves, getting out of holds. Finn Balor had him for quite some time in like a wrist lock. And he was just doing flips. He was doing everything with like a spring in his step and with some rhythm to it as well. So even though Finn won and ultimately came out the winner of this match, Swann put up such a great fight that I would not feel bad if I were him. Like, it was really great. He really gave Finn a run for his money, to be honest. And just in general, Swann, great fighter. I look forward to seeing more from him in the future because that was my favorite match of the night. And if he wrestles half that good the rest of the time, yeah, I want to see more of him. Swann going places. Next, we had Alexa Bliss versus Sarah Dobson, and Alexa won. This was a pretty lackluster match. The only thing that really stood out about it was the fact that Alexa Bliss was like at one point standing on top of Sarah Dobson, and it was supposed to be like a menacing doing damage to you type of attack, but it just looks silly because Alexa is so small. So like if Nia Jax was doing it, she's pretty much the only diva probably who could get away with standing on someone's back and have it actually look like it hurts. Alexa Bliss cannot do it. She's like 5 feet tall. Like, you can't take that seriously. She looked like she was just a masseuse at a massage parlor making Sarah Dobson's back feel better. Like, it did not look menacing at all. Next, we have our main event, which was a women's match, and that was Emma versus Asuka. And this was the one I was looking forward to the most, but you may recall I had a different favorite earlier in the night. But this one was still really good. It was probably my second favorite of the night. And it was pretty much a war of submission holds. A lot like the match that Asuka and Emma already had back at TakeOver London. Just a lot of submission holds, back and forth with that. One of the big differences was that I feel Emma came out looking stronger in the London match. Emma was doing her signature moves a lot more in London. She didn't really do any of her signature moves that I noticed in last night's match, which seemed kind of strange. But, you know, in London, she was really, pulling her own, like, she almost had Asuka numerous times. But this time, you could tell that Asuka just dominated. Even when Emma was starting to get the match to go her way, you could still tell that Asuka was the stronger person there. And they tried to build up some of Emma's strengths during the match, just like they did in London. Except here, it was a much more devastating loss to Emma, I believe, because she just tapped out so fast in the Asuka lock. It was ridiculous how fast she tapped out. Like, she was like 2 seconds in, and she'd already tapped. Like, that doesn't really make her look strong at all. I mean, maybe the point was to weaken how Emma looks, but based on the previous matches that they've had where Emma actually came out looking like she gave a fair fight, this one it was just like Asuka just dominated and that was that. So I'm curious to see if this is going to be the end of the rivalry, since Asuka's going to be facing up with Bayley pretty soon here for the championship. I guess only time will tell. So that was March 23rd's NXT. And thank you so much for watching. And if you have any comments, if you agreed with some of my opinions or disagreed, whatever the case may be, let me know right down there. Be greatly appreciated. And I will see you next week.